The Congress today has made a claim which has been made in the past, and that is raise a question mark on the efficacy of the EVMs. All of this after the Maharashtra poll debacle for the Mahavikas Aghadi. Listen into Mr. Kharge.
हमको ईवीएम पीवीएम कुछ नहीं, हमको होना बैलेट पेपर पे वोट बस। उनको वो मशीन उनके घर में तो रख लेने दो, या मोदी साहब के घर में रहने दो, या शाह के घर में रहने दो। अगर किसी गोडाउन में, अहमदाबाद में बहुत से गोडाउन बने, वहां ले जाके रख लेने दो, हमको बस पेपर पे करो। और आपको मालूम होगा उस वक्त तुम्हारी हालत क्या है, कहां खड़े हो, उस वक्त आपको मालूम होगा। तो मैं ये अपने पार्टी के तरफ से एक मुहिम शुरू करना चाहिए। सभी लोगों को कहना चाहिए, सभी पार्टियों को भी हम कहेंगे, और राहुल गांधी जी के नेतृत्व में जैसा भारत जोड़ो यात्रा निकाले, वैसा ही ये पेपर, बैलेट पेपर हमको चाहिए।
Mr. Naik, the curious case of the EVM is that for the Congress and the opposition, all is well during the Lok Sabha, where you do exceedingly well. All is well in Maharashtra Lok Sabha, where the Congress did exceedingly well. All is well in Karnataka, in Telangana with the EVMs, but everything changes in Haryana because you face a crushing defeat. Everything changes in Maharashtra where you face a humiliating defeat. EVMs can't be right when you want them to be right, and then completely off when it doesn't suit you.
So this kind of a complaint would arise from ground. It is not out of thin air. If we realize, if we move around in the ground, and if the mood is different, if the response of the people is that that particular party is winning, we can definitely make it out. If there is a tsunami, one can easily sense it. But if it is to the contrary, and if the results come out in a totally different way, and the machines are suspect, the number of cases where the batteries are charged up to 99%, even at the day on the day of counting, all these things lead to a kind of suspicion, which is not good for democracy. So if we are tending towards an opinion where the ballot papers would be better option than the EVMs, where there is a lack of trust, why not go back to this paper ballot?
Mr. Naik, along with being a member of parliament for the Congress, you're also an ex-IAS officer. And I would reckon you'd know better than I that the reason that we moved from the ballot paper to the EVM was practically to figure and to end the entire controversy which came in on manipulating elections on ballot papers. You know that better than I, sir.
See, no system can be completely foolproof, but definitely ballot paper would be a better option because there is no electronic systems, no programs, no storage of EVMs in godowns and pre-programming. All these things are not there in a simple ballot paper. People are able to trust that. They have done it for a number of years, and it is easy to conceive. Easy to understand how the things are happening there. But in an electronic machine, it is always susceptible. We know that our money gets lost just like that in the electronic financial transactions, which are supposed to be absolutely foolproof. This kind of a lack of trust is what is not good for democracy. If we feel that we are going to get better appreciation of the results by going for the ballot paper, why not? What is wrong with that?
Right, Dr.
Even
Islam,
the best of the countries, best of the countries,
okay,
the
Dr.
most
Islam,
developed countries in this world,
let's bring in Dr. Islam. To end the entire, to end the entire controversy over EVMs, the opposition says if there's so much faith that you have in winning elections and the people, what's wrong in moving from the EVMs to ballot paper?
See, this kind of debate is, I would say, useless. And it's just wasting everyone's time because they have always accepted the mandate when people have given them the mandate. But when the people didn't give them the mandate, at that point in time, they just blame EVM. In Haryana last time, how many seats they had won? That time they didn't blame EVM. In general election in Maharashtra, how many seats they won? Congress actually won more than anybody could have imagined. Yet you didn't blame EVM. But today, when you have lost, you are blaming EVM. I think they need to introspect.
Okay.
And they need to understand that what is good for the democracy and what is good for
Mr.
Congress
Naik,
party.
many would also say
maybe
that,
EVM is not good for Congress party, but good for the democracy.
This is the crutch of a sore loser, because with what we pointed out, it's all well and fine when you're doing well, and suddenly the EVM develops a snag and there's a problem, the election is rigged when you're not doing well. And the sad part, Mr. Naik, is also that today there are multiple petitions which have been struck down by the Supreme Court, the same court that you were quoting on, Constitution. Also, let me add to it, the sheer fact that we do not have a TMC spokesperson on this is because most of your allies, especially regional parties who won elections in their states, actually feel there's nothing wrong with EVMs.
No one is entitled to their opinion. No? So this is what the party's view is. Over a period of time, if there is a lack of trust in this, the electronic voting machines, why do we persist with that? Many countries, big, large democracies, developed countries have resorted to ballot papers. They have not been with the electronic voting machines. Why are we so insistent upon using EVMs? Electronics is not easy to understand. It is possible to manipulate. It can be manipulated. And that is the situation. Why do you give rise to this kind of a doubt? Why don't we get back to simple
Dr.
ballot
Islam,
papers?
end the debate for once and for all, especially, if there's so much confidence that the BJP has, and look at the current numbers. It's been a rout in Maharashtra. And the question which is raised by Mr. Naik is many developed countries, even the United States of America is not entirely dependent on EVMs. Most of, the voting happens on ballot paper there.
If you make this kind of allegation, you should also prove them. When the Election Commission invited them, all the political parties, to actually show Election Commission how it can be manipulated, none of them turned up. Congress didn't turn up at all. Some political parties did turn up, but they failed miserably in front of ECI officials. So when they had the opportunity, they didn't turn up, and today they're making allegations. So everyone knows that it's just when they lose, they make EVM that we have manipulated EVM. And when they win, then EVM is
it is not a standalone charge.
No.
This is
Even in Supreme Court judgment, when the Supreme Court delivers a judgment which is favorable to opposition parties, then they welcome it. And when that is not favorable to them,
on the other side of this debate, you quoted multiple Supreme Court rulings, one of them being election bonds when it comes down to being unconstitutional means. But the same Supreme Court, look at it, on Constitution Day, has struck down a plea which questioned the efficacy of EVMs.
EVMs is not just a standalone issue. Challenging somebody to come and prove that this can be manipulated is not the only way to understand the problem. It is the way the BJP government has been overtaking the institutions across the country, different institutions. I would not like to name at this point of time. So every institution which is conducting election or is associated with election is under the grip of the ruling party. If that is also coupled with an electronics voting machine, which cannot be understood by a common man, then it is not a proper thing for the democracy's growth in trust and confidence in democratic elections. So it is better to go back to what common man understands, and so that if at all a person is voting, he votes physically and which he can experience while doing so. This electronic voting machine is not experiential at all.
Okay.
For a common man who is not educated, not having knowledge of electronics, you cannot really sell this idea of...
All right. But Dr. Islam, I think one thing that all political parties will be on board with is electoral transparency. If a move to ballot paper enables that, then why not?
See, transparency we always welcome. So that's why when I said that when the Election Commission had invited them, they should have turned up. and proven election commission wrong that this can be manipulated, but they didn't. When the people rejected them, then they said that democracy khatre mein hai.
You know, I'm
And
gonna.
the democracy khatre mein nahi when they win. So this kind of a statement, this kind of allegation, this kind of statement coming from opposition parties, nobody will buy those arguments because
And
they
you know, one of the reasons, Mr.
we have
Naik,
rejected them.
that
We have
people
rejected
don't
them.
buy the argument, and I'll give you an example, and maybe it's a bit of introspection that the Congress party needs to do, because A, regional parties aren't on board. You said that's their own business. Okay, it's their own business. But I'll give you an example. Right before 2024 Lok Sabha elections, Mr. Naik, the Congress had gone to town, made EVMs and the VVPATs a focal point of dissent before general elections, igniting a debate on it, where it actually came to a crucible. Possibly the Congress party could have rejected the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. They decided to go through it. They got results which seemingly were favorable to them, especially in states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, where you faced a recent drought, and you were okay with it. So if you wanted to, then put your money where your mouth is, reject elections. You never did that then.
No, it is not such a black and white scenario as you can really appreciate. It is not that I'll be able to pinpoint this particular election has been manipulated in this manner and so many votes have been manipulated. This kind of a scientific accuracy of trying to call the bluff is not possible in this way. Even if you call somebody before the election commission, ask them to check the machine and prove that it can be manipulated, it's not easy. I'm telling you that there are a number of factors which are involved
Very
in
quickly,
manipulating
Dr.
an
Islam,
election
10 seconds,
result.
please answer,
It is not
then we're going to
just the
close the
machine.
bulletin. Let Dr. Islam come in, sir. 10 seconds. Dr. Islam, go ahead.
Preeti ji, the Indie bloc, which we also call Gamandia bloc, asked the several representatives of several parties. They all are they are not.
No,
on
you're
the same
right,
page.
because that's one of the main reasons why we did not have a TMC spokesperson, because I'm sure Mamata Banerjee would think everything is working superbly well with the EVM. She swept the by-polls. The Aam Aadmi Party would be saying all is well because they've done well in the by-polls where Punjab is concerned. And I'm only talking about recent elections. So the India Alliance not on the same page. What's going to come off the question on EVMs? We'll know in days to come, especially where the Congress charge is concerned.